Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I'm going to be doing an overview and roundup of all of Tower 28's newest releases, like the releases they've done over the last year or so, and I have them all on my face today. This is a little preview. I haven't done a Tower 28 video in a minute, so I thought this would be a fun little video to do and just combine all of their newest products in one instead of just individual videos of each. But if you prefer individual videos of each new release, let me know in the comments and I'm happy to do that in the future. But yeah, I know a lot of you know me through Tower 28 videos, so I thought this would be fun because I haven't done one in so long. I hope you enjoy. I hope this is helpful, and if you have not subscribed yet already, I would love for you to do that. And let's get into this Tower 28 review video. The products we're going to be talking about are their new Sculptino, which is their new bronzer contour product. It's like the Bronzino, but it has no shimmer in it and is meant to be more like a contour. We're also going to be talking about their new Juicebalm. This is their new tinted lip balm from Tower 28, and I can't forget, I almost did forget about these, but we can't forget about their new multi-liners. These are their new lip liners that they came out with. And then we'll also be talking about the oldest of the new releases, which is their Makewaves mascara, an absolute fave of mine, so I'm excited to talk about this one. So as you can see, I already have my base on, my brows, my eyeshadow on, because none of those were new releases for Tower 28. My base is actually the Saie Beauty new foundation. I'm doing a wear test over on my Instagram and I really like it so far. I also have the new Phytosurgence eyeshadow on. It's gorgeous. And yeah, my brows. So the first product I'm going to be talking about is their Sculptino. This is their newest release and this is their new contour product. As you probably already know, they have the Bronzino, which is their shimmery bronzing products, which I actually absolutely love. I think those were such a hit for me, and I'm almost on pan on one of them and regularly use that. I love that product so much, but I know that was a miss for a lot of people, so I think this was a good release for them because I know a lot of people like their formula but didn't like the shimmeriness of that product. So this was a good release, and this is not shimmery. It's not matte obviously because it's a cream product, but it is just a solid color, no shimmers in it, and it's described as an easy peasy foolproof cream contour to softly shape and sculpt your face. It's super blendable and has neutral undertones so you can't mess up. It comes in 4 sheer shades with 0 gray cast or orange hue for natural looking soft contour and dimension. They have the shades Broad, Getty, Hammer, and Simon. I have the second deepest shade. This is the shade Getty, and Getty is described as a light medium neutral undertone bronzer. And my favorite way to apply this is actually with this Saie bronzer brush, their big brush I think this is called. I think this just fits into this part of my face really well and blends the product out super well too. And a lot of people have been talking about how this formula is slightly different than their blush formula, and I'd agree with that. It's a little bit thinner. It doesn't feel as balmy and as creamy actually, but it blends into the skin just as easily and just as beautifully. So there is a little bit of Getty on the face, and this brush actually blends the product out so beautifully too. I've used this bronzer a handful of times and loved it every single time I used it. I think it's so pretty, and I think this tone is really good for me at my skin tone right now. I kind of have a feeling this could be a little light for me as I get deeper going into the spring and summertime, but right now the shade works really, really well for me. It's very neutral on my skin tone and gives me the perfect sculpted look. And for my forehead, I actually like to go in with a more dense, smaller brush. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, just because I have kind of a tiny forehead and that big brush is a little bit too big for my forehead. So you can see on my forehead here that it just gives me really beautiful dimension, and the tone is so pretty on my skin tone right now. So if you're a similar skin tone to me, I would recommend getting the shade Getty. They obviously need to expand the shade range. It doesn't go very deep. There's only 4 of them, so you can only do so many, but for sure they should expand it. But I think if you're my similar skin tone, Getty would work well for you. So this is the bronzer all over my face. I think it's such a pretty product. It's so easy to work with, and if you're someone who's maybe a little afraid of cream bronzer, cream contour, I think this product would work super, super well for you because it is just so effortless and easy to use, and you don't really have to think about it. It just goes onto the skin so beautifully and evenly, and I really love this product. So I just finished up my complexion with a little bit of highlighter, blush, and some powder. I'm wearing the Phytosurgence Dew of Dawn Spectral Shine Highlighter and their blush in the shade Sublimate, as well as the Kosas Air Set for the center of my face. So let's move on to the mascara. The mascara is incredible. I wasn't expecting them to release a mascara, but I'm so happy they did. I wasn't excited at all when this came out, just because mascara is mascara to me, and I'm not someone who pines over the newest mascara or anything like that, but I love this so much. I want to say it's my #1 favorite mascara. I feel like that's pretty bold, but I truly think it is, and for so many reasons. And it's funny because when I first tried this mascara, I didn't like it. I do think this gets better with age, but the first time I tried it, I was just like not very interested, and I was like, okay, just another mascara. But then I kept using it and I fell in love. Like, I basically use this mascara every day unless I'm testing something else out, and I don't need like my heroin make mascara for an all-day situation, completely waterproof, because that'll be my go-to if I'm like going, I don't know, snowboarding, or my day I know is going to be like 12 hours long or something like that. That's when I use the heroin make. But this Tower 28 mascara is so beautiful because it holds my curl throughout the entire day, which is really rare for some mascaras that aren't like claiming to be waterproof or anything like that. I think the only mascaras that really hold my curl are waterproof mascaras, apart from this one right here. I love the wand. It's this kind of curved shape, so it's really easy to get close to your lash line and get every single lash. And it's a drier formula as well, so it's not like too gloopy on the eyes when you first use it, and I adore it. It never smudges. It's super easy to remove at the end of the night. This is not a tubing mascara. This is just a regular mascara that comes off with warm water and isn't difficult to remove whatsoever, and it's just such an incredible mascara. So here is one eye done with about 2 coats, and it just gives me such beautiful volume and length, and yeah, I just adore this mascara. Another thing that I absolutely love about this mascara is it never smudges. I never have issues with this kind of coming onto my lower lash line and smudging and just making my lower lash line look really like dark and like I've had a long day. I think that's one of the biggest reasons I like this, other than the fact that it holds a curl as well, is because it doesn't smudge. So many of my waterproof mascaras, they will hold a curl super well, but by the end of the day I always have little smudgies in the corners of my eyes, and I never get that with this one right here. I could actually afford to replace this and open up a new tube because this is pretty old at this point. And also, if you have sensitive eyes, all of Tower 28's products are made for sensitive skin and sensitive people in general. So this isn't going to irritate your eyes either. I know a lot of people who do have sensitive eyes have not complained about this irritating their eyes. So I think that's also a really good thing to mention, because I know some mascaras can really irritate people's eyes. So these are the lashes all done. It just gives me so much length and volume and vavoom, but I can also just do a light layer if I want and get a really natural lash, and it keeps the curl, it doesn't smudge, it just looks so pretty all day long, and is just a very solid, reliable mascara, and that's why I love it so much. And then we have their one-liner lip liners. These have been a hit among so many people, but I didn't like them the first time I wore them, so I'm going to try them again today and see how I feel about them. I don't know, I felt like they were a little dry, or the shades didn't work for me. I'm not quite sure, but I'm excited to try them again today. These are lip liners that you can use on your eyes, cheeks, and lips, kind of like the Makeup Forever lip liners, and they come in 3 shades, so let's swatch them here today. I'll go from deepest to lightest. The first shade is the shade Draw Me. I'm Draw Me is described as a chocolate brown. So this is the shade Draw Me, again described as a chocolate brown. This actually went on smoother than the first time that I tried these. I think maybe I needed to like break the seal on the pencil, and maybe I should have rubbed it on the back of my hand or something to do that, because the first time I used this it felt like it was like dragging on my lips, but today it didn't feel like that. But this is the shade Draw Me, super pretty chocolate brown. This next one is the shade Work of Art, which is described as a pinky taupe. I think this shade was my favorite of the three. So this is the shade Work of Art, which is described as a pinky taupe, and this one's like not my favorite. I think the shades kind of just were a miss for me because they're all kind of like cooler, more neutral, I guess, shades, and I prefer warmer lip liners. I really like warm berries or like warm rusty browns on my skin tone, so maybe that's why I just don't reach for these, because the shades aren't right for me. But again, this is the shade Work of Art, which is described as a pinky taupe. I think if I were to pick one, it would be this one, but none of them are like my absolute favorite. Last up is the shade Fill Me In, which is described as a rosy nude. So again, this is the shade Fill Me In, which is described as a rosy nude, and I just don't think this shade is very flattering on me personally. I'm not gonna wear this regularly, so I think that is why these are such a miss for me, is because of the shades. I would love to see more colors from them because the formula is pretty nice. It's not my favorite either, but it is nice. Yeah, I know a lot of people like these though. If you like these, let me know in the comments and tell me your favorite shade. And lastly, let's talk about the new Juicebalms from Tower 28. These are their new tinted lip balms. They came out with 4 shades, 2 sheer ones and 2 pretty pigmented opaque shades. So I'll do a little swatch for you today of all the shades from sheer to opaque. I did do a reel / like YouTube shorts on this, but I thought I would just talk about it here as well and explain kind of like the formula and how I feel about them personally. I would say this is my least favorite of the newest launches. I do really like it, I just don't find myself reaching for these. So this first shade is the shade Shake, which is described as a sheer juicy pink. This shade and the shade Mix are my favorite of the bunch, just because I do prefer like sheer lip colors versus opaque ones. So this is the shade Shake, a sheer juicy pink, and it's kind of like a pinky strawberry shade on me. I really like this shade, and the texture is kind of like a thin balm, or like a oily balm almost. It kind of reminds me of like the EOS lip balms, like the texture of these. I do wish they were a little bit thicker and a little bit balmier, but I don't mind this texture at all. It is super comfortable on the lips, and it is moisturizing, but it's not like the most moisturizing tinted lip balm out there. So I'm not expecting a full-on like lip mask moisturization treatment on my lips from these, although I was expecting a little bit more from them because of what their glosses are and how nourishing and moisturizing those are. But maybe if you had these and then the gloss on top, you'd be like set for moisturization. I do think that they should have kept their old formula and just used one of those like clicky pen situations, like the Hourglass ones or the Tarte ones, or I don't know, so many brands have that same situation. The M Cosmetics ones, I love those, because that older formula that they came out with first was so like juicy and glossy and really moisturizing and thick on the lips, but I feel like they were so set on this packaging. I wish that they had maybe kept the formula and then decided to change the packaging instead, because I feel like those would have been more of a hit than these ones right here, because I do think that these might have been quite a miss for a handful of people. But it really depends on what you like, because I know a lot of people really like this as well. Anyway, this is the shade Shake, a sheer juicy pink. Next is the shade Mix, which is my absolute favorite. It's so gorgeous, and this is described as a juicy sheer nude. This is the shade that they came out with initially in that like Sephora favorites set, and I loved it then and I still love this shade now. It's definitely like a light nude. This wouldn't be a nude on deeper skin tones. So this is the shade Mix. I just love this shade so much. It's so easy to use, throw in your purse and wear it throughout the day and not really worry about application or anything. Again, it's really comfortable on the lips, and I think this color is so pretty. Next up we have the shade Squeeze, which is described as a juicy coral. This one is much more opaque than the other ones. This one is super punchy and bright, perfect for like the spring and summertime. I don't love this color. I just don't think it's like flattering for me, and it's not a color I would usually wear, but I think this would look gorgeous on a lot of other people and a lot of other skin tones. But for me personally, this is not a hit for me, and I'll most likely get rid of this one as well and declutter it because I can't see myself using this too much. But again, this is the shade Squeeze, which is a juicy coral. I would actually describe this as like a blood orange on me. I feel like it's much more orangey, blood orange specifically, versus coral. Lastly, we have the shade Drink, which is described as a juicy berry. And again, I disagree with this color description because this is like a watermelon. And as you can see, it's very pigmented as well. And this is the shade Drink, which is described as a juicy berry. I would say this is like a red watermelon shade on me personally, or like a straight red strawberry berry, if that's the type of berries they're thinking. But usually when I think berry, I think like grape or like raspberry or blackberry, versus like this shade. I think more purpley when I think of berry, specifically for lip colors. I do like this one more than Squeeze though, although I don't know if I'd get too much wear out of this one either. I might end up getting rid of this one as well. So I finished with the lip liner in Work of Art, and then I put the shade Mixed on my lips. But that is the final face of all of the new Tower 28 products. I hope this was helpful. I'm glad that I was able to revisit some of these formulas that I'm not wearing very often, like the lip liners. But I would love to see like a powder from Tower 28. I feel like they would do super well at that, and I really want to see like more powder products in general from them. Maybe even like brow products would be fun. I don't know, I feel like there's so many things that they would kill it at. Let me know what you're expecting or wanting from the brand. Are you into Tower 28, or how do you feel about the brand in general? I would love to know down in the comments below. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. And I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!